Hi, welcome. I'm just about to get started. Um, we'll wait one more minute, although this is only a 15-minute training. We had some issues with and some tech issues, so I apologize if you were sent to another link. Sorry, I'm also using two computers. All right, well, it's been 5 minutes. I'll jump into it. I'm excited. All right, welcome to my first How Well Is Your Content Performing training. I'm really excited about it. So my name is Jazz. I am the Chief of Marketing here at Anansi. And I also am a senior content strategist. I started as a strategist, and there is nothing more that I love than helping our partners and clients really get their content up to where it needs to be, because there is nothing worse than writing copy that you love and getting so excited about launching your website, getting so excited about the client's website, and then watching the copy just fall so flat. There's nothing worse, and seeing absolutely no results. So ultimately, this training, I'm going to be walking you both through our content rubric, which is basically a really awesome, simple tool that we established quite a few years ago. That's a way to just kind of initially audit content. So this is something you can use for your own website. It's something you can use for your clients' websites. And it ultimately looks at kind of four main categories that I really like to think are huge aspects of content strategy, which is making sure the website is readable, making sure it's engaging, making sure it's effective, and making sure that it plays to the right brand voice and tone. So to get us started, I'm actually going to walk us through the rubric, and you'll be receiving this to your email right after the training is over, so that you can get to using it right away. So let me just share my screen. All right. Everyone can see this all right? Yeah, awesome. I'm using a PC and I'm not a PC user, so I'm just gonna navigate my little scroll here. All right, so we have our four main criteria. So let's look at number one. When we're thinking about readability, yes, of course, we want our website to have no spelling errors, no grammar issues, no typos, all that kind of stuff, but also thinking at it in a way of how do we make it as easy as possible for our audience or our client's audience to absorb the value that they're driving, to absorb what it is that is going to change that person's life. So readability plays to, is the website skimmable? And it's as simple as that. You have what 6 to 8 seconds to really capture your audience and make them actually want to like take action. So how do we make it as easy as possible for them to do that? So kind of some tricks and tactics there are using our H1 and H2 headers. And this is also really big. This plays a huge role in SEO, which I think I'll have to do a whole other training on as well. But also kind of key information that needs to stand out. So thinking about, how can we bullet point key information so that when they're skimming through the page, just like this, like these kind of all kind of easily stand out even more than the other pieces on this page. And this is just the rubric. Making sentences paragraphs short, having varied sentence length so that it's easy to kind of move around the page. Because something also to consider is when you're looking at content on a website, yes, we're reading it from left to right. We're reading it in like a landscape format, but we also want to be looking at it vertically and like how does that copy come across on the page in kind of a grid format. Really important for in terms of where our eye is catching the content on the page. So, if there is, so thinking about the visual elements there, where might you place the most important copy to help your client take action in a kind of design element that will really capture them, capture their attention. And then, of course, I love, love, love this tool, and I've even included it on a rubric. I'm going to just quickly open it. This is called the Hemingway app. And I think this is a great way to just like, if you're like, is this, I know it's silly, but it's like, is this a run-on sentence? Is this too complex to like take it? Are my words way too long in this sentence? This is a great app to actually just throw in your content and see where it stands. And this is, I really love doing this, helping partners kind of use this with their clients so that they can kind of break down like, okay, this is why maybe this paragraph, you might be in love with it, but why it's not working is because, there's like 400 letters in it. You know what I mean? So I know that sounds ridiculous, but helping them really understand how to break it down. So that's readability. So our second part in the content rubric here is engagement. So is it written for the right audience? This is huge because I'm going to walk you through two website examples, and they're two coffee brands that I really love here. So I live in India, and obviously, tea. This is like the tea capital of the world. So like, I needed to find a really good coffee brand, so I had to do my research, right? And it was fascinating to go through their websites and really think about who they were trying to appeal to, and I'll kind of play more to that in a second. But really understanding where your audience is in their journey. So what are the external challenges that they're facing, and how does that make them feel emotionally? Like, what are they going through internally, and how can we really play to those needs, and how we can kind of transform them from, for example, with my coffee example for here, I am a millennial woman that's like a digital nomad, always on the go. I want a brand to understand that, like, I need good coffee wherever I go. Like, I'm going to be bougie about my coffee choices. So like, I'm not going to drink, instant Nescafe. I'm so not that girl. So how are they going to appeal to me in a way that's like, hey, we know you're a busy woman, but we also know that you love your good cup of coffee in the morning. So I'll show you kind of how that plays out in the two website examples that I have. And then using that understanding of your audience, how do you play that out in your headlines? How do you make it punchy and literally engaging? How do you make it like, I want to read a headline and be like, oh yeah, this is for me. All I need to read is the hero section of the website and know that, like, I'm the right audience. This is exactly what I need. How do I buy? And then of course, adding to that, really taking away the genericism in like copy and in like business terms. And this is really huge because sometimes we get stuck in our head about certain like taglines or lines that we found kind of resonated with us, but maybe are like 10 years old and just like totally overused. And I find with a lot of clients, sometimes when we deliver the foundation copy, one of the biggest things that they kind of get caught up on is like, well, this doesn't sound like anyone else. And it's like, well, that's the point. We don't want you to sound like anyone else because we want you to be as relevant to your target audience as possible. And another part of the engagement that comes in here is showing and telling. It's really, really important that we're not constantly just throwing out content like long stories, all these paragraphs, and this kind of brings in engagement and readability together. But how do we really show our audience that we are the answer to their problems? How do we show them the transformation that we offer? This can be as simple as like really killer testimonials, a really effective case study that dives into those pain points. But also, it can be as simple as just the way that you framed a headline to make it, from this to this, you're going through this, like the next headline is here's the transformation, book a call kind of thing. And I'll show you kind of how that plays out in an example. It's a little bit easier to show and that's why showing is better than telling. And then our third on the rubric is effectiveness. So this is really all about, does your website have a clear call to action? Is it understandable what needs to happen in order for, like, if I get into the website, do I know what I'm supposed to do? If I get to a website, like a coffee website, and it's like, check out our farms, or like learn more about our beans, that might not be is that where I am in the customer journey? I don't know. It's really, you have to really understand your audience to know where do we take them next when they get to the homepage. Ideally, for, an e-commerce website, for example, so with like coffee, ultimately the CTA is like, buy your damn coffee. So you want to think about where your audience is and how to get them to move forward. So that, again, the effectiveness of your website is coming through. Your website is there to help you make sales and help you grow your business. So how does that customer journey play out in your call to actions? And last but certainly not least, I think is actually the most important aspect of content strategy and really developing content that is a step above, is having a very clear voice and tone to your brand. Now, we use brand archetypes here at Anansi, and I actually, I think I pulled up an example here. This is a blog post that's on our website. This is our how to choose your brand archetype in 4 steps. But this is a brand archetype wheel, and this is what we use in our messaging anchors step of our content process. And it basically, it helps you define what the personality of your brand is. So every brand in the world has a brand archetype. Disney is like the magician. They're all about like, bringing, it's all like magical and bringing things to life and not really knowing how it works. And it's like this incredible power to move us and it leaves a mark on us. At Anansi, we're the artist. We're all about kind of innovating the process to make the lives of digital agency owners as easy as possible. But we also like to have fun. You'll notice in all of our marketing, we love memes, we love GIFs, and that's why we really play to the jester archetype, because it's all about having fun, the pleasure, and being able to connect to our audience through that kind of fun aspect. So this is huge, and I'll have to send out in the email a link to this blog post as well, because it's great for understanding where you're at with your brand archetypes, especially for your client. But then when you understand what your brand archetype is, then you're actually able to create content that resonates both to the emotions and and in the needs of your audience in a way that is approachable to them. So the voice and tone is really all about the how you're communicating your value and your brand story. And then, of course, tone is all about kind of where you're at in terms of your level of formality. So, we're super ultra casual. We're super conversational. We like to keep it real. We curse, that's something that we've always kind of had in, because it's just part of who we are. We like to just keep it real and be honest and transparent. But, if our audience was like a bunch of, New York executives and lawyers, we probably wouldn't go that route. And, we'd want to be a lot more formal with our tone. And then, of course, keeping that consistent and build, and it's over time, you really learn how to build a memorable voice for your brand. But going through like a really structured content process helps you kind of hone that in, because with a full-on content strategy, you're able to really understand how that plays out in all the kind of examples and where you can make that happen. And then last but not least, in terms of this section, I always like to ask this question, like, if the logos were removed, would it still be recognizable? There's brands out there that you always like, they can remove the logo and it's them. Like, Disney, I think, is a great example. Tesla, I think, is a great example. They're the outlaw archetype. They're all about breaking the status quo, leaving a mark. And like when they remove that logo, you can still tell they're appealing to that sustainability driven millennial who wants to make a difference, but also wants to look cool and have a sick car that looks amazing when, wherever they go, but still having that environmental aspect. So when you go through the rubric, you basically, I like to start with a homepage and then go through the rest of the website. And this is something, again, you can use for yourself. You can use it for evaluating where clients are at with their content. But ultimately, go through, leave notes as you go through each section. And then there's a little rubric at the bottom. Honestly, I find that most websites that come our way are usually under the 6. So they're like just okay. So I like to give kind of like each bullet point in the rubric, like 2 points per section. So you're kind of evaluating from a 1 to 10 scale per section. But you'll actually get in the email, you'll get a full overview of how to kind of use this in play. But I want to take you through my quick examples. I've already gone over time. It's very hard to do this in 15 minutes. My goodness, there's so much information to share. So quickly, I just want to show you how I would kind of go through a website. So this is my favorite coffee brand. It's called Blue Takai. Their audience is very much millennial, digital nomads. They're mostly in metro cities. It's all locally roasted coffee from South India. And, their cafes really bring off this kind of like bougie, but also consistent vibe. Like, I know I can go to any cafe in India and have the same experience. And so I find that their website is actually really lacking in expressing what that experience is. The visuals are great. I think it plays it plays totally to the audience, who the audience is. But this hero section could be much better optimized to really speak to my pain points in terms of needing consistency, looking for a great cup of coffee, and especially because Blue Takai is like this place where a lot of expats would go as well, using kind of bringing in that language, understanding where their audience is at. Maybe there's an idea here where if they know their audience is expats and they know that they're living in the tea capital of the world, how can we make them feel at home in connecting with our brand? Like, like missing that Colombian brew in like Canada that you would drink at at Starbucks or something like that. This is totally a Starbucks competitor as well. They could use that kind of language and be like, feel like, come back to that feeling of home, have a great cup of coffee, freshly roasted, freshly brewed on site, and like all these yummy treats to go along with it. And then there's multiple calls to action here, which I am not always a big fan of. I feel like for a website like this, it should be like buy now. It should be go ahead and buy the coffee, because they just recently redid this website, and I actually had such a hard time finding where to just buy coffee. Now it's a little bit easier because it's right here at the top, but ultimately, like, just having a big call to action button right in the middle would be the most effective way to do that. And then just moving a few notes in regards to their homepage. Like, this is a huge block of text. I've read it. It's nothing special. It's very we focused. I think the biggest mistake, honestly, the biggest mistake that website copy always has, is that it's so we focused. It's our mission, what we want to do for our customers, what we're trying to do to provide you value. It should be, hey, you have this problem. Here are XYZ ways that you can get this solved. We're here to support, click here, kind of thing. Make it a little bit easier for the audience to understand that this is the right website for them. This is the right brand. They're in the right place to make the right decision. And then ultimately, this is a great area. So they already have other calls to action on their homepage. So visit our cafes, our farms. This is fine. This can be left here. However, the hero section, which is like the most important part of the homepage, if they had just kept this as one call to action, I think that would have been a lot more effective. Now, quickly just showing you another brand. So this is Colombian Brew. So this is actually a instant coffee brand. They are all about, definitely millennial to Gen Z, adventurers, explorers, people who are always on the go. So this is why they really appeal to me as well. I'm just not an instant coffee drinker, but I love, like, their hero section, I think still needs work, but I love that their tagline at the top here, it says, wake up, kick ass, repeat. That is so targeted to the kind of action, the kind of day that their audience wants to have. What they're really missing from this section is that this should be actually an H1 or H2 header, and then there should be a big call to action button here to, like, buy now, or whatever that next kind of step would be in their customer journey. But ultimately, I actually really like this website, although there's still some tweaks here and there. They've kept their paragraphs a little bit shorter. There's kind of like standout things. I don't think this provides much value to the audience. Like cool, 20 million cups of coffee served every day. Great. That doesn't really impact me. So how could we maybe change kind of these like standout facts to appeal more to my demographic? So maybe that's like 20 million plus cups of coffee served to like go-getting mountain climbers and trekkers, every day. And I know that's a kind of a silly example, but just a way to kind of take it that step further to connect more with the audience. And then what I also really liked about this is again, this is an e-commerce website, so they make it really easy to buy, and they actually make it so easy to buy that their entire homepage goes over every single type of coffee they have, it's a lot, but they also use some fun, like they really put all the keywords that I need to know, like, oh, keto, great. So if I'm a keto person, like I know this is the kind of coffee I want to go for. The images obviously help here. One of the things that I know about their audience is that their audience is all about flavor coffee. So being able to like label out everything here, they actually include it in the copy down here. They include all the flavors that they have. But ultimately, for an e-commerce homepage, this is not bad. I think that they could have been more consistent with the voice and tone. I know it's a little like, it seems like it can be challenging when it's like, oh, Jazz, but they're just like talking about their coffee, like the type of coffee now that they're selling. But they could have more fun with it. Like if the top of the website says wake up, kick ass, repeat, how can you play that more into the rest of the copy in the homepage? So that is my very brief, but also over time training of using the content rubric to understand where your copy is at. Does anybody have any questions before we kind of sign off? And of course, you'll have access to myself and Tanya, our amazing account manager who's on the call, to kind of dive deeper into questions you might have, or if you want to kind of talk strategy and what this could look like for your agency, we're here to chat. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now as well.
No, I don't think so. That was very interesting. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining. I actually love doing this. I get so excited talking about copy.
I can't tell you get so excited, Jazz.
Oh, no, you can tell. Yeah, it's a really easy tool to use. You'll get it right to your email. And I mean, are you currently looking at kind of understanding where your website is performing, or are you currently working with clients and trying to establish kind of how to help them move forward?
No, I'm wondering whether this kind of service is appropriate to support clients. And it's a interesting model that you have. And so I wanted to find out a bit more about how your company works and thinks.
Yeah, absolutely. Our copy process is actually so simple. It's just 3 steps. So we start with messaging anchors, which is basically encompassing all of content strategy. So it's helping our clients basically clarify their messaging, understand who their audience is, like really diving deep into building that avatar profile, putting together really just how to actually communicate with them. So using brand archetypes to really establish the personality of the brand. And then we usually even do like content examples and et cetera, so we can really help the client understand how this works. Because I find that with copy, it's kind of like, oh, you just throw it up and it's good to go. But we really help the client understand why the strategy is so important and basically provide them with a document that they can use outside of working with us. Like it's a document they can use in their organization forever until they need to, like, unless they like pivot their message or, you know, their audience drastically changes. That is a cohesive copy reference guide that basically any writer, any marketer can take and know exactly what they need, what kind of copy they should be producing to create ad campaigns, email marketing, et cetera. And then basically from that step, we take them into foundation copy. So foundation copy to us is what we consider a website, a landing page, basically, you know, again, the foundation of kind of what their copy is online. So their marketing online. And then we actually move them into growth strategy. And that's where we really get into kind of those long-term goals of what they're looking to accomplish with their marketing and helping them build out strategy, timelines, the actual copy, you know, how to bring in different elements to really bring their brand alive through ongoing digital marketing that actually reaches specific goals. So we focus on 5 specific goals. So we're looking at more visibility, more engagement, more conversion, more retention. And we actually recently added a goal where if we're finding that, you know, clients or partners are struggling in like, hey, like I want to take on X amount of projects by the end of Q2, but I actually only have capacity for 2 because I'm doing like 16 hours of admin work every day. You know, we can set a goal aside for them like, okay, well, let's clean up your processes and your systems so that we can build you that really solid foundation so that growth is actually possible and you're not, you know, putting so many hours into like templates and setting up proposals and getting all that. We can get that sorted and you can actually focus on the work at hand while we take on basically clearing out the funnels, clearing out processes, and working towards a very specific goal and using metrics to really make sure that we're getting there strategically. So that's like my long-winded, sorry, I was trying to make that very succinct, but I also am like, woo, too excited. So,
I couldn't have said it better myself, to be honest. So
awesome. Awesome. So, but yeah, I mean, Tanya's on the call right here. So Tanya's our account manager. She handles everything behind the scenes. She is like your gal for really helping clients understand the value of copy, overcoming barriers that might be or that you might be facing with the client and helping them move forward. So you'll actually get access directly to her booking link after this. Ooh, exclusive. So that if you'd like to chat more about what this process could look like for yourself and your clients and how to really integrate our processes together, she's your gal.
Beautiful. Okay.
What type of clients do you usually work with?
I'm focusing on like the natural resources and environmental sector because I have a background in communications, but I also worked for some years with the provincial government as a manager in the Ministry of Forests and Lands. So I'm trying to tie those 2 pieces together. So definitely not like a consumer focus, much more primary sector or like tourism and environment.
Interesting. Which province are you in?
I'm in British Columbia.
Oh, okay. So am I.
I think I knew that.
In Vancouver. What are you on the coast or are you further up north?
Yeah, in Vancouver. Yeah.
Oh, you're in Vancouver. Okay, well there we go.
Yeah.
Enjoy semi kind of rainy, kind of sunny day. Trying to find.
Yeah, you gotta love it while it lasts, right?
Yeah, very true. Yeah, if you're interested in sitting down and talking a little bit further, we do work with a number of agencies, and like Jazz said, it's about weaving our process into your own. We do offer white label services as well, so it's not just, so if you're wanting it to be part of having us as part of your team, then you've got there's 5 content strategists right now, correct? Yes.
Yes.
So you have a team of like 5 content strategists that would be available at any time. So
yeah, and this is one thing that's kind of interested me, how you guys like pull this off, because if I would have had to think what like a boutique agency does that serves other agencies, I would have imagined that they would offer like higher level services. And I would initially have put content as a kind of a lower level service. And from hearing you talk, it sounds like you've turned that into a higher level service, which is really an interesting move. And I think I'm getting the gist of how it works. And perhaps it's because many clients put the copy part of it as a lower level activity and therefore produce stuff that is not worth it. And they're spending a lot on a website and nothing on content. That's probably what it is.
100%. And what really kind of sets our team apart is that we hear it all the time. My university nephew is about to graduate and he writes copy, but we don't write just copy. We're content strategists. We're all about writing version copy. So there's a major difference in that for sure.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, that's probably that's a super great introduction to your agency. Thank you tons for that. That's greatly appreciated.
Thanks
And
for
now I know
joining.
who you are, so that's really cool. Which city in India are you located in?
I'm currently in Manali, which is in Himachal. Like really, really, it's really cold. I'm really far up in the mountains.
Oh, I see. Oh, I have family in Goa and Karnataka. So it's a different deal, right?
Yeah, like complete different end of the country. And also, like, I just recently said to my husband, I'm like, why didn't we choose Goa? I'm like, I'd love to be on a beach right now.
Right. Well, do you know what? I had one of the worst beach experiences in my life in Goa. So don't get too excited about other places. They're always better, aren't they? The beach that I went to last time in Goa was so crowded that it was standing room only. And the standing room extended about 30, 40 feet into the ocean with people all wearing clothes, but standing in the ocean. And then there's, just beyond that, then there's zip lines and heli rides and jet boats. And the whole thing was just, if you're thinking of like nice palm trees and a sandy beach, it couldn't have been fun. It was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, you went to the party capital
where
of
we
India.
live, where we actually are, right?
Yes, 100%.
Awesome. Well, look, it's been lovely speaking with you guys, and I think I've got your
Absolutely.
details, so that's really marvelous.
Awesome.
And have an awesome day.
Yeah, you too.
Look forward to talking soon.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Cool. I'm gonna stop the recording.